Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the Kisima podcast. On this episode, we're going to discuss social responsibility, especially as the youth. So, tuko na mgeni kwa hii episode. Our guest today is called Kiarie Kariuki, and I'll let him introduce himself. As always, I'm your host, Joy Mala. You can find us on our socials. On Insta, it's Kisima_podcast, and on Twitter, it's at Kisima Podcast. Karibuni, and I'll let them
Yeah.
introduce themselves.
Juu kuna mgeni unanisahau. That's how it is. Anyway, as usual, it's Gloria Machete. Thank you for joining us today. We are happy to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Kiarie Kariuki. I'm really passionate about social responsibility and the role the youth have to play in changing the communities that they are part of. So I'm happy to be here, guys, and I hope we have a fruitful conversation.
So ukisema social responsibility unamaanisha nini, like in simple terms?
I think the two words are kind of self-explanatory. Social would mean the environment that you're part of, your present society, community, and responsibility just being the fact that you're taking up the charge for more than just yourself. It just means being aware of the needs of your present environment and stepping up to fill those needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what ways can people do these things that you talk about?
So social responsibility has four main groups: economical, philanthropic, human rights, and environmental. And all of those four branches are places that people, depending on their passions, they could choose to chip in into those different areas. So there are different groups depending on what exactly you're passionate about. But it's also really important for people to understand that they need to be able to take the first step and actually begin to be the change that they want to see. I think it's important that people realize that they have the ability to do stuff and they need to just start doing it. Yeah.
Na hiyo ni kwa sababu hisi kitu imeanza sahi, like all along we have been, in our traditional societies and even kitambo kidogo tulikuwa very involved, like our responsibilities weren't separated for ati isi kazi yangu, so mi siwezi enda kuosha hii shule, that's not what I do. So yeah, what do you think happened along the way to cut on from that, and is it something we should aspire to go back to?
Yeah, and I actually think tuko rooted on that as African societies, because even in Kenya, there was a time that Harambe was a philosophy. And during that time, after colonialists watoke, you find that much as there are schools that were built by Christian missionaries because they really wanted to spread Christianity, na the colonial government wakitry to promote education, a lot of Kenyans also rallied to build schools. So you find that as like vitu zenye communities ingehitaji, they would actually rally together to make them. But nowadays, kuna katu venye kunakaa, we wait for government.
Nini ilihappen?
Yeah, what happened and maybe what can we do?
I would think that a lot of our cultures and societies were not based on capitalism per se, kitambo. And so the whole aspect of community and coming together to accomplish certain things was more ingrained in our traditional beliefs.
Yeah.
Of course, in the aftermath of colonization, a lot of that has changed. And the fact that these days hata hujuangi nani ako karibu na wewe, you don't know who your immediate neighbor is. Unaenda tu unahamia place, unaishi peke yako, hutaki kujua what's going on around you. And I would believe part of the change that would need to happen is the process of decolonizing the mind. We would need to get back to our African roots, our Kenyan roots as well. Regardless of wherever it is that you're from, you need to realize that kitambo manze watu walikuwa.
There was love. I think watu walikuwa real, watu walikuwa.
But I think sahi na system yenye uko unaona sasa, if I dedicate my time to doing this thing na I could have been making money, like it looks like it's at your own expense. So it makes it so difficult to be altruistic. Is it called altruistic?
Altruistic.
Yeah.
Hiyo ni sad. Ni sad pia that world yetu iko governed by the fact that kila msee anani do. But it is also entirely possible for you to make time for those extra activities one, and it is also entirely possible for you to convert your social responsibility activities into income generating activities. We have a chick who, I forget where exactly, but I hope she's watching this. She's converting plastic waste into reusable bricks, and then
I've seen that. Yeah.
Bricks as in building bricks.
Yeah.
Hey.
And especially at this time where we really need to care for the environment and climate change now, all like tuko very environmental conscious. So you need to.
ni dope no, she's able to make a living off of that. She's training people in her immediate communities that they're not jobless as well. Na she's making an impact on the environment. Hizo ni vitu tatu anafanya na bado ana get do. So to people who think that hey, I need to keep at my 9 to 5, there's nothing I can do, manzi, that's just not true. There's so many gaps to fill hii country yetu. You see them every day. Unamkanga tu unateta about something. Mbona na instead inafaa kuwa mimi naweza fanya nini collaboratively na wasi wengine kuchange hizi vitu mimi nataka.
Mbona mi ni du na kuna gava nilielect msee afanye hiyo kazi. Mbona system zetu haziwake? Why should I do something about it?
Mi nadhani I think there's a high road to it because hata most of us tunaishingi tukitry kutafuta meaning in life, and these are some of the aspects that make you feel that you're being useful to life because you're giving yourself of something that you feel will change your immediate environment, will impact the world for better. Na hizi si vitu zenye you must be paid for. Like it's good if it makes you money, but at the very end of it, in your heart of hearts, indo yo patenye una feel wow, like my existence here is not useless. Like it's not that I could die and it's just like sikufanya anything, then I shouldn't have had to exist.
Yeah.
I think inatry pia kusolve hiyo part ya existential angst.
Yeah.
For you to not just feel sawa, it's 9 to 5, I'm building someone else's dream, and then when I'm done I'm retired and that's about it. So unaacha footprint flani kwa dunia and maybe people get to live through you. Much as sawa tume elect our officials, I think pia wewe mwenyewe ukishow what is important to you, because they can't come and decide Gloria, your town needs an art center, and maybe hakuna artists wamerali kufeel this is what is important for us, and maybe we'll create this space, we'll be meeting here and doing ABC. I think it's like with anything yenye una pick interest in, for other people to also come and decide, oh, Kiarie unafanya hii, let me support you in this and that way. You have to first show the love for it and actually be the passion for it. So
But also in itself pia I feel like kila mtu akichukua responsibility yake, kuna watu watachukua hiyo responsibility ya kuhold those people accountable. So at the end of the day, hakuna mtu atakuwa na slack because the community is doing these things, and then us now we are going to make sure the people we've elected, they're also doing what they're supposed to do. So it's I think it's a very self-sustaining system. It's a very aspirational place
I believe one of the major problems would be inculcating that spirit into just about everyone. Unacheki? The whole capitalist machine is something that is taught to us even as we're little children. Hakuna mse atai kuambia manzi umetembea huko hivi umeona nini, enda usaidie in fact watoi uchapwa because wamepatikana sijui ulikuwa wapi,
because they are straying. Like is it educational? Unamsaidiaje grades zako?
Hapana. Manzeneo ni sad sana. Hiyo ni sad. Communities zetu zinajengangwa na every single person. Our older villages and whatnot, manze, our say walikuwa na come together wana decide we need something. We need a borehole. Watoi wetu wana need shule place flani.
We need a playground. Like most estates nowadays are not built with that in mind. We just erect concrete jungles, and that's it.
Prisons, more like it.
Yeah, more like it's true.
It's true.
Kwanza ni super security, maximum security.
Maximum security
Because you have
prison.
double gate.
Double gates, haingizi mwangaza, watu tu wamepigwa na
Yeah, and then people don't just think these kids need to play. There is a way we grew up, like hata to, I think adults, intergenerational interactions, they are very much lacking. Na nadhani hizi ndo hizo activities zinaweza leta watu together. Guys decide maybe we are cleaning, or it doesn't have to be nisemeaje, much as gava imetake over hiyo as kazi kwa vijana, kunaweza kwa other aspects.
Yeah.
Kuna hizo juu community, I think community activities ndio mali ina break your barrier. Yes, you are a CEO but pia unaishi kwa hii community, na huyu mwingine ni mtoto but pia anaishi kwa hii community. Yeah, and then in time pia mnaanza kujihumanize, unaacha kukua ule demu wa gate ya red, ule mama wa dofo sijui. Yeah.
Just this few minutes already na feel inspired. Ebusa now just like give me ideas, like what are some of the things that you do that you feel una contribute, like you're playing your role in social responsibility.
So like I said before, I'm really passionate about children kumenta wase na youth per se. And so in my spare time, I've formed a company. It's called Nawiri. And its objective is to mentor na create sustainable legacies, sustainable generation legacies. So that wase wenye wanapitia programs zetu as they grow older, they're giving back to the younger people in our program. And then as they grow older,
in whatever gifts they may be having.
In whatever gifts they might be having, in the interactions, like tunaorganize pia. Manzi, Nawiri means
flourish.
I think you can plug it. Wambia wase tunaweza wanaweza get wapi on social media? Where is it based?
We're based in Thika. Our social media presence is still being built. Not wanting. Tafadhali.
Please.
Tafadhali.
But imagine running a social media is difficult.
I agree.
So pia na understand.
But love inaweza tumwa kwa Gmail yetu. experiencenawiri@gmail.com is our email address. So inaweza taka kusikia what people are saying, what people think. But aside from that as well, I'm also really passionate about improving educational standards. So nakuanga part of mi volunteer at a public primary school kusaidia watoi wenye wanaweza kuwa hawaradi pase. So and also because education ni just more than what you're being told in class. The fact that watoi wanaona some stranger amekam kuwasaidia, unajua pia ina build a picture in their mind that haya pia mimi naweza enda place nyingine ni pitch in as well. Man, those are just the things that we need to start doing as well. Just killer place.
I've been watching Michelle Obama mentor some Girl Scouts. And she has this segment where she posts them on Insta. And kuna kitu very important alisema on the very last one that I watched. Alikuwa anaambia these are very young girls, like primary school according to venye sisi tunasomanga, but alikuwa anawaambia you are not too young to mentor people. And I think that's very important, like you, as long as you have the hindsight,
because you often hear mentor and you think, oh my god, 40 years old
and years of experience, nafaa kukuwa daktari in that area. But you don't have to, like as long as uko na hiyo foresight na kuna place umetoka, like there's always a way that you could have done things better. And as long as you keep telling, like you keep mentoring young people, kwa sababu the same way you would have needed a grown up maybe akikwambia sivyo, like you could have done this, unaweza fanya ABC. So that's how we nurture societies, kwa sababu in this generation where people just become, in this generation where we are very isolated, watu wanakuwa very atomized and you don't feel like there's connection.
Kila msana kwa delegate everything to someone else. Mimi niko IG, mimi niko kwa Netflix or something. Things are happening to other people, and that's just not the way to go. In governance, in just living your life, una need kuwa rada manze nini ina happen, nini inaendelea.
Na pia venye tulikuwa nasema, it's the same way you rope back government to hold people accountable. Because if you've never cared whether there is water or how the drainage looks like, kwa sababu where you ni place tu unakujanga kulala unatoka, and then you kind of hope someone will do it. Kama wewe mwenyewe ujali na wewe ndio unaishi hapo, and we all know our MPs, our nini, they don't live in the same stores as us. Def. So kama mwenyewe ujali ni very, it's nisemeaje, ni ridiculous, ni strange of you to think mse mwingine atakam ajali yakwe, so you don't have this, you don't have that. So much as we keep complaining to them, I think if it's important to us, we also just keep showing it, especially as young people. As young people, sai ndo time yenye we are coming of age, we are living in these societies, na much as our parents and people wenye wametushinda na miaka wako na a lot to play, wanaweza contribute in terms of maybe financing and guidance, as we have energy and we have time.
Yeah.
So much as hakuna hiyo money, au wanaweza, like when you are older maybe you don't have energy,
Yeah.
but and you might have time and money, and then when you're very old maybe you don't have time. Uko karibu, well,
Una
uko karibu
exit.
kuishia, but unaweza peana advice, unaweza mentor watu in different areas. So ni poa for us pia kuanza kutake hizi vitu to heart, kujua yes we keep saying we want change, but change begins with us.
True. We need to be the change we want to see. Sijui ni print hiyo na t-shirt bwana. Nilikuwa tu
We should, by the way.
napea tu wasema nini imekubo enda utengeneze. Go.
And I think it's key to note that mobilization manze is key, kwa sababu sometimes unaweza feel so demoralized.
Yeah.
Like uko like no one else cares about this. So ukipata community, kama hakuna community, we anzisha hiyo community.
Yes.
Because utapata watu wenye wana share the same passions.
Yeah.
True. Na inakuanga very dope. Si unajua ile story ya kijiti? Like you can break one stick, but then ukiwa kaa 10 utanyang'ana kiasi. And I suppose that would be true for any venture. Mkashikana wase kadhaa, unajua every single person is bringing a different strength to the group.
Are there some communities that you can plug now that unaongea about your story ya vijiti? Yeah, that
Nawiri.
people
Nawiri, definitely. Yes. Especially
Kisima Park.
na Kisima podcast
yeah,
as well.
even us, we are the
Yes.
community.
Yeah, we are.
Nawiri, yes. We would be open to volunteers at some point in the future. That will be communicated. But I believe that for every single location that a person is living in or working in, or just generally spends a lot of time around, kuna kakitu hapo hivyo. Especially Rotaract zinakuanga kaa everywhere. Lang'ata, Milimani, Kariobangi, Thika. Like there's a Rotaract club everywhere. For those of a younger audience, PACE does take a lot of volunteers to help again improve education standards as well. Na kuna youth groups mingi sana around the country, and the only thing you really need to do is to come together and then get registered, and that's basically it. Mnaweza anza operations.
All right. So in short, tuanze tu kukea. Like he don't care attitude, isaidie anyone. We end up with societies we actually don't want. So just care for something and take responsibility.
Yeah.
So as we wind up, umeongelea mentorship na, taking care of the ones after us. So what has been the best piece of advice umewahi receive? I mean, that you can think of right now.
That I can think of right now. Best piece of advice. Hiyo ni kunirusha tu kwa deep end. Let me think, nipe buffer. For ile yenye inakam kwa kichwa na ni kitu nimeandika kwa wall saizi, no means not today. At any one point ukiwaisikia the words no, just know that it's not no, it will never happen. It's just no, not today. Of course kutakuwa na stumbling blocks, things will not go as planned. Kuna kuanga pia na ile I'm sorry but TikTok that says you make the plan, you follow the plan, you expect the plan to go wrong, then you throw away the plan. And then you rinse and repeat too. Like ni constantly growing, constantly accepting that you might not always be successful, na pia just pushing forward regardless.
Sage.
Guru,
We have a sage.
Yeah, so today joining us is a sage.
Niko na seminars pia.
To register hapo link
Hapo tu
utaweka.
experience Nawiri hapo tu. Watume email.
Me think kitu poa nishaisikia ni that failure ni the best learning point, because now you know one way that doesn't work. And then from that you can actually get better. Kwa sababu ebu imagine if everything you did was ever perfect. So ikiwa, well, that would be nice, but for you to pick useme hii part ilikuwa let me try this other thing, so you keep failing and as you get better. So hata ukijaribu kitu feel well here could go as planned, it's not the best way it can be, then guess what, that's a chance for improvement. So Kaizen, guys.
Kaizen, yeah, kwanza
Kaizen.
sage mwingine
Yo.
na Japanese philosophies hapa hivi.
Eh,
I
so
wouldn't even water down what you guys said because
Ishatosha.
imetosha.
ingia kong.
Lakini, thank you so much for joining us today.
Karibu.
Get some insights. Guys, if you want to reach out to him,
experiencenawiri@gmail.com. That's the Nawiri branch.
Yeah.
You could find me personally on Instagram, KIA_RIUKI. Hiyo ingine nikaona tu ni Facebook. So acha niachie hapo.
but
Instagram uloa.
tutaweka tag zake. Sisi,
Yes.
as usual, it's Kisima Podcast everywhere. Kisima_podcast on Instagram, Kisima Podcast on Twitter, and of course on YouTube, it's Kisima Podcast. And everywhere you listen to your podcast from, tuko hapo. Join us next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.